here, Canada.
Well, I was born in Hamilton, Ontario, so I'm Canadian.
Canada.
Fortunately, I think Hamilton.
Toronto. I was born in Canada, but my parents are from Sri Lanka.
My parents are both from Pakistan.
I'm from India. I was born here with my parents.
Well, my parents are from Sri Lanka, so they're Sri Lankans. I was personally brought to Canada when I was 3 years old, so I'm Canadian.
My parents are from India, and I'm like Indo-Canadian.
I'm from Canada.
From Korea, I think from South Korea.
From Lulu.
From Toronto. I identify myself as a Canadian Pakistani because I was born and raised here, but my roots, my origin is from Pakistan.
Well, you're talking about my ethnicity or my background? I'm from Sri Lanka.
Canada. My parents are from Canada. My grandparents are from Canada. I have no idea where my great-grandparents are from, but I'm mostly from here.
I'm really from here. I was born here, so I'm from here.
From Burlington.
Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
I say I'm more Canadian because I've been raised in Canada.
Toronto, Canada.
Canada?
So my parents are from Punjab, and they came here, and I was born in Canada.
Canada.
I would say Sri Lanka.
I was born in Seoul, and then I came here in grade 1.
Caucasian.
I'm Polish. My parents were born there, so I'm Polish-Canadian, I guess.
My parents are British, so I guess I'm British.
As a South Asian.
I guess I consider myself to be of Indian background.
South Asian.
I'm Canadian, and if I was a Canadian citizen, I do have Italian heritage.
As Tamil Sri Lankan.
Indo-Canadian.
Indian.
Tamil Canadian.
Korean, Asian, not Chinese.
Being white, I get the white privilege of not being asked my ethnicity a whole lot.
Because I'm like white and I'm just like, the majority, I guess. Like there's a whole bunch of different, I guess, like things I could be. Like, am I Italian? Am I Portuguese? So yeah, I do get asked that quite a bit.
Not very often. Sometimes.
More often than I would imagine, mostly because people can't seem to figure it out.
Maybe twice a month.
A lot, especially where I work and stuff. They ask me where are you from, stuff like questions like that, just to figure out because I don't look like it, I guess.
More than what you would think. I think people usually understand me as an Italian Canadian, but I obviously just say Canadian.
Whenever I meet someone new, they'll normally ask me where I'm from.
Once a month when I meet someone new.
Every time I meet someone new, which is practically every day.
In the beginning of school, I asked that question a lot, but now not as much unless I meet someone new.
No.
Not particularly, just because I do identify as Canadian and I'm very visibly white.
Not always. I've learned to kind of say where my parents are from. When I was younger, I would say, I was born here. They're like, right, what's your background? Okay, fine, my parents are from India.
No. I'd rather them ask me and say, oh, so I guess what are you really? As opposed to just saying, she's white and that's it.
No.
Yeah, kind of. It's like, why do you have to ask? Why do you need to know?
No, I just feel like people want to get educated, especially where I live. They may not have so much contact with people of color, so I guess they're just interested in knowing my background, so I'm fine with that.
Not really, because it's kind of a way to identify yourself, and it's just a way to get to know people better.
No, not really.
Quite a bit. I mean, I do have a lot of white friends, but they're not Polish necessarily. And then I have a bunch of friends who are Indian, Muslim, that kind of thing.
One.
I don't want to say the majority of them are other groups. Looking back on it, a fair number of them are white, but that doesn't mean I don't have non-white friends.
Not much, actually. I probably know 1 or 2 people that I talk to sometimes that are not South Asian.
Almost all my friends, actually.
Pretty much most of my friends.
Probably 4 or 5.
I actually don't have a lot. I have more South Asian friends.
A lot, I would say. Most of my friends are Asian, but they're not Korean.
I think most of my friends are the same racial ethnic background themselves.
I guess I've been attracted to people of the same social demographics just because I can connect to them better. Like we can even speak in our same language if we need to. We have the same culture and values that our parents hold, and that's how we've been brought up. So I guess I'm naturally attracted to that stuff.
It's not something I consciously look for. I don't, say, oh, this person's white, I want them to be my friends. I'd like to think it's not a subconscious decision. Looking back in the last question, there is quite a large number of white people in my social group, so maybe it is something subconscious.
I'm going to be honest, mostly not. Growing up, I felt there were certain differences between people of my own ethnic background and myself in terms of culture, I'd say. They were more ingrained in their own groups and the things that they liked, whereas I, having grown up here, was more exposed to, let's say, the Western side of things, and that made it sort of difficult for me to join in with them.
I would like to think that I'm friends with like anyone really. Like I'm not just like you're white, therefore I'm gonna be your friend. Growing up and stuff, like because Polish was my first language, I wasn't taught English until I went to school. I guess that was like sort of a way for me to feel included.
Yes.
Yeah, you would just assume there would be a commonality.
I would say yes, just because we have like the same interest in stuff with like culture, because culture is a big thing for me and my family.
Yes, just the fact that we're able to connect a lot better because we go through a lot of the same challenges, and so we're able to connect a lot better.
I would say yes, looking at like the friends that I have because they're more Asian. It's because something with culture or similarities.
Yes, but interestingly enough, mostly by my own people, so to speak.
No, as I had said, I've always had, a good group of family and friends, and my friends are mostly South Asian, so I feel like I can connect to them as well easily. And even if I do meet anybody that's of a different origin, I can easily talk to them and get rid of that barrier. Yeah, I have. Where I grew up, majority of people were like Caucasian, and I was like one of the only people who were like of any other minority, not just like South Asian. It was like any other minority out there. It was just like me and maybe like 2 other people my entire school.
No, because I don't think I've been around people who have treated me in any other kind of in a different kind of way just because of my race.
Yes, I'm gonna say when I first started school, that's only just because I couldn't speak the language. But then after, when I learned the language, I was actually able to, I guess, fit in more. So I'm gonna say, I haven't really felt like other.
Multiple times. Just the fact that people don't understand who I am, or don't understand the cultural backgrounds that I come from, or just based off my skin tone.
A lot. Especially when I got here for a couple of years. Felt like I was not like the rest of the people that were here because I had different hair color, different the way I speak, different skin color, something like that.
No, there hasn't been a cause or a movement for me to think that Canadian culture needs to be mobilized.
In the educational setting maybe, because you're seeing you have to be good at this, you're good at that, and different kind of things, so I guess I have to live up to that.
All the time. Just the fact that, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of trying to fit in. You have to embrace who you are, and you should stand up for it.
I did when I was younger, but now not anymore.
Sometimes people have the wrong understanding of maybe my religion. Sometimes people don't understand why certain people don't cut their hair or they wear a turban. I just feel like educating people is a good thing. I don't think that I have to represent the whole population. I just think it's good to let people know what our religion is and what Sikhism is.
Of course, when I was younger, I felt like I needed to be nicer or be kind, have this personality that would attract or feel welcome to other people.
It does, because of the fact that even though people identify me as part of another group, I have my own values and beliefs, right? So especially representing everyone that is part of a minority group or part of my group, that's unfair because even though we're so-called part of one group, we all have our own ideologies, our own beliefs. Even like the smallest things we do are completely different, right? But we're just portrayed as one. So that's where it becomes problematic, and that's where it kind of adds that pressure.
Not really, because everyone's an individual. Like in my opinion, I think like religion or culture or background is just a part of you. I think that like there's good and bad people in all religions, and I don't think it's a generalization that you should make.
Well, like if I did something bad, like when you hear about people like murder or killing and like people associate with South Asians, yes, that does like pressure me, like when people might think like stereotypical ways.
I would say because we're different, we look different, different color.
I think it's problematic. Being Canadian is not a homogenous cultural identity. I don't think it's as simple as that. To only ask like a person of color where they're from is very politically incorrect.
It's kind of like seen as like a question that'll help you understand maybe better. It can be seen as offensive as well. I guess it just depends on like where it's coming from, either curiosity or like prejudice or something like that.
I guess because people of color are from different places, so I guess it's more of to get to know someone when you first meet them. But I don't think it's problematic. I guess that to some people might be offensive, but it depends on how you look at it.
The fact that a lot of people are uneducated about other cultures, so I think it stems from curiosity, a lot of it, but it also stems from people being uneducated with where other people are from and about other cultures, and a lot about ignorance too.
When we think of Canadian, we always think of, oh, it has to be a white individual, right? Because we're so used to that. So even though I was born and raised here, anyone that sees me and I am brown skinned, they would wonder, oh, where am I from? When ironically, I was born just down the block. Yes, it is problematic, but we are getting closer and closer to reach a solution where a lot of people have understood to embrace different cultures, different ethnicities, and have actually started to understand that, hey, it's not just white individuals that are Canadian.
It's asked precisely because they are people of color. The interesting thing is that if one were to be, say, African Canadian, they probably would not ask, where are you from, unless they had an accent. Now on the other hand, if you ask someone from Asia, where are you from, it's because you were specifically from that subcontinent. I think it's problematic because people assume based on sight that you must be born somewhere else. It's frustrating for everybody who's listening. If you're on the receiving end of those questions, when you get asked that, it just helps it helps you feel more other, so to speak. You just feel more of an outsider when people don't just assume that you're from here.